Hello, race fans, and welcome to episode 18 of Translated's adventure around the world in the Ocean Globe Race. My name is Paul Cayard. I'm here in La Jolla this week, and the team's about 13 days into leg 3, past ice waypoint 1. They're coming up on ice waypoint 2. Generally, it's been pretty smooth sailing, I would say, and our team's doing a fantastic job. They're winning in their class, they're winning in line honors, they're second in IRC. Someone, Triana, has gotten a little more south than them, and they're currently holding the lead in IRC. Remember, IRC is the rating rule that's used so that a 73-foot boat like Pendwick can compete against a 53-foot boat like Triana. There has to be some way of equating the performances of an obviously faster boat with a much smaller boat. So Translated is doing really well. It's early days. I don't even think they're halfway to Cape Horn yet. So let's take a look at the tracker and see what got them to where they are now.
I want to use the predict wind router here to give you a little overview of the leg once again, just to be helpful when we zoom in and talk about the details of where they are currently. So the leg started in Auckland, New Zealand. They need to go around Cape Horn here, and they'll finish up here in Punta del Este, Uruguay. It's 4,500 miles from New Zealand to Cape Horn on the Great Circle route. Now you can see that they can't sail the Great Circle route because there's these ice waypoints which are keeping the fleet to the north. So it's probably more like 4,700, 4,800 miles honoring these ice waypoints. And they're just coming up here on really what's the second ice waypoint. There was one back here that for some reason isn't showing up on this chart, but it's not important. So this is what the fleet is doing, and so far they're about 13 days into the leg, and they're not quite halfway to Cape Horn. So I think we're looking at 26, 27 days just to get to Cape Horn, and probably another 9 at least to get up, 8 or 9 to get up to Punta del Este, Uruguay. So I'm running the router right now from, as usual, Translated's position currently today on the 25th of January, and it's a little bit off the screen right now, but my end point is Cape Horn, and what we have as a feature is this high pressure bubble right here. It has slowed the fleet down a little bit. They're running and broad reaching right now in about 10 knots of wind, which is unusual in the Southern Ocean. As you can see, if it weren't for the ice waypoint they have to honor, they would be down in this range here in much more consistent and stronger winds. Anyway, they have to come up to this ice waypoint and deal with this light air for really just a day or two as I advance this to the 26th and 27th. We can kind of see that it moves out of the way, and they get on down the track here, picking up some pretty strong southwesterlies on the 28th of January. The routing is pretty straightforward. They're staying south. This yellow line right here is the Great Circle route between the 2 points, so the shortest distance between the 2 points. They're not allowed to sail that because, again, the ice waypoints are marks of the course, and they must remain north of these ice waypoints. So they're going to stay as far south as they can, but they have to honor the ice waypoints. Here on the 30th, looks like they're going to deal with a little bit of light air again. And boy, look at the wind kind of approaching Cape Horn here. This is not a good time to be along the southern coast of Chile. Let's see what's going to happen when they get there. Yeah, right here would be a pretty windy Cape Horn rounding. Fortunately, the fleet's back here. Still in good wind right here. They've got 30, 35 knots of wind. This is probably 45 or 50 knots of wind at Cape Horn. They won't be there yet. and that big one blows through. Here they've got some pretty strong northerlies. Northerlies are nice because they're not too cold, and they keep that going all the way to Cape Horn. Now it's the 4th of February. Looks like they're going to have pretty good breeze at Cape Horn. Maybe not 50, but 35 anyway. Well, actually it was that way on the 4th. Looks like it's moderating a bit. Now, we're definitely getting outside the reliability range for this forecast. This is the 5th of February. That's pretty far out. So we really shouldn't give this too much credence, other than to say that February 5th is maybe a pretty good day, a prediction day for them to round Cape Horn. And from Cape Horn up to Punta del Este, I would say is going to take them 9 days. So 14, 15 of February is a very early estimate for their date of arrival. This was a situation on the 19th of January, about 6 days ago. And what was of interest was that Spirit of Helsinki mostly and a group of boats allowed themselves to get too far to the north, while Triana, Neptune, and Translated stayed south and really benefited from strong winds. Even Penduik, which is the fastest boat in the fleet, we see they were suffering losses due to their northerly position. So as time goes on here, I'm going to advance this. Just watch Penduik kind of sail through the fleet because of its superior speed, and start to overcome the losses it took for staying too far to the north. Maiden is this boat right here, the turquoise color. So you'll see the two of them going along side by side as I advance this a little bit. Right now they're Maiden's right on top of Penduik. And Translated got down in front of Triana and Neptune, and sails a very steady course. Translated sails steady. A lot of boats are kind of moving around. Here you see Penduik starting to get a little bit ahead of Maiden. Helsinki is up here just floundering. I'm not sure what their strategy is. Maybe they just want to have a pleasant cruise. Triana and Neptune are really pushing the south, and they're doing well for that. Here's a hard dive south by, I think this is Neptune. That's a little overdone. You don't want radical movement. You want steady. These boats are going along at 8 knots. Nothing pays them back for a big radical movement like that. So here comes Penduik down to Translated's latitude. Here they took a little jibe. Now we're on the 23rd of January, so just a couple days ago this was the situation. And Penduik, because of its superior speed, is finally caught Translated, and now is crossing over their track. Again, I just like the steadiness of Translated. I like that they know where they're going. These other boats are flying around. I will say that Triana and Neptune generally know where they're going as well. A little erratic here by Neptune, but they really wanted to push south, and south always wins, as I said. So they're coming up on the second ice waypoint now. Penduik's getting a little bit of a lead, but really not enough, and they're into this bubble. And right now their boat speeds are pretty slow. I think they're going 7.4. Yeah, they're going a knot and a half slower than they usually do because they're dealing with this light air of the high pressure bubble coming up on the second ice waypoint. I think it's Triana that is winning in IRC right now. Yeah, first in IRC, you can see there at the bottom of the screen, first in adventure class. Meanwhile, Translated is first in line honors and second in IRC and first in flyer class. So our team is doing a great job as usual. They're not quite halfway to Cape Horn though, as you saw in the overview. So long way to go, but we're following them. We're proud of them, and they're doing a great job.
So that's a wrap on episode 18. The team's doing fantastic. They're coming up on ice waypoint 2. They're dealing with that little high pressure bubble that we talked about last week, but really it's not menacing. They're going to slide right on through there and hook up to some nice westerlies and northerly winds as they head down to ice waypoint 3 and Cape Horn. Looks like Cape Horn on the 5th, as I talked about on the router. Luckily, they won't be getting there on the 1st. It looks a little breezy, but again, that's a long ways out. So great job. It's probably going to be a 33, 34 day leg. It's a tough grind out there, and but as we've seen from the onboard videos and the little clips they're sending us, they're having a good time. Great camaraderie. And that's a big part of winning, really, having a good ambiance on board. So let's remember, we all need to believe in humans.